We're back here in our third segment this week of Christmas. Hi, Jim.
Hello, how are you doing?
Very well. Merry Christmas.
And to you, thanks.
You're here to talk to us about what appropriate season green cars.
That's right, one of the great colors of the season.
I guess you can get a red green car.
You can get a red-green car.
But just to bring people up to speed about what we're talking about, why don't we take a look at some samples of what a green car would be.
Certainly.
This is the new Chevy Volt. They made a big deal about 2 months ago and introducing it.
Right, and notably about the Volt, it's one that you actually plug into an outlet. We can talk about those types later.
That you recharge at home.
Yes.
And then the next one is, one that's been around for a while, is the Honda Insight.
Yes, that's a true hybrid.
And that is a 2010 version, which is substantially better looking than the first one that came out.
Right, they're getting a little better on the looks.
And next is the Prius.
Yes.
Which is probably I guess the market leader at this point.
Oh yeah, it's a very well proven popular car, particularly, it started out sort of with the intellectual community. Now people are really realizing, hey, these things do work.
Yeah. And then our next one is a hybrid vehicle. That's a Ford Escape.
Yes.
And I guess that still falls under a green.
It is a green vehicle. What they call these partial zero emission vehicles.
And
TZEVs.
Okay. And then my personal favorite, that's a Tesla.
Right.
So you don't have to look like a grandma in an electric car.
Right. They're getting sportier to appeal to a wider segment of the population. Yeah. And that's all very good.
Yeah, this one is actually quite spiffy. It's about $120,000.
Yes.
And it goes 0 to 60 in 4 seconds.
With an electric engine or electric motors, they have far quicker acceleration than a gasoline engine.
Well, all of your torque is available on demand. It's all there.
Instantly, right. It's there. It'll pull stuff apart if you don't regulate it.
How will the manufacturers meet pollution standards like with these kind of cars?
Well, we'll talk about some ways they're doing it, some ways they could do it, and some ways that we're afraid of.
Okay. Well, right now there's what they call the CAFE standard.
The CAFE standard is corporate average fuel economy, and that has driven a lot of car companies. Of course, they have to meet these mandatory standards. The problem is that the approach has been to lighten the weight of the vehicle instead of really concentrating on alternative fuels and better engines.
And that affects safety in what way?
Well, it affects safety because they put what they call lightning holes. You can't see the structure in the frame of your car unless you tear the upholstery, the trim out. But if you look, for example, the windshield header that runs across the car, if you look at that, that is not a solid box beam. That thing has cutouts in it. And the cutouts are strictly to lighten the weight of that piece. I don't know, people, there was a Nissan sport car that formerly was so particular on being a very light vehicle, they even drilled holes in the brake pedal. So you had a brake pedal with tiny little holes drilled. Anything they could take out in weight. And that's going to affect safety. And it's not going to show up in the crash test, because if you take a car and run it into a barrier at 30 miles an hour, that's the equivalent of a 60 mile an hour closing speed of an identical vehicle. So you can take a 1,000-pound car, run it into a barrier and pass a test, but if you hit a truck with it, or a larger car, or an SUV, you're toast. So the lightening part and the lack of added weight of safety equipment has got automotive engineers, even inside the car companies, concerned. We were fortunate in Savannah to have the John Stapp Car Crash Conference, which is a very important national safety conference of automobile manufacturers, automotive engineers, and they're concerned about the emphasis on green at the expense of automotive safety. And the big thing is the weight. For example, there's an L1 Volkswagen, which is a fabulous car that'll get 170 miles a gallon. It weighs 839 pounds. And so not only did the engine technology increase the gas mileage, but an 800-pound car.
There are motorcycles that weigh more than 800 pounds.
Absolutely, yes, and that's unfortunate. Some of the things that have been done and are readily available to us, I don't know whether you've noticed city buses running on natural gas.
Right.
That's an internal combustion engine. The natural gas is only carbon and hydrogen, which converts to carbon dioxide and water. It emits some heat, but carbon dioxide and water are the byproducts of it without the additives and the pollutants.
What about in the event of an accident with some of these electric cars, the batteries?
Well, the battery is a huge added weight. That's the blessing and the curse of the battery. You know, you can plug it in at your house, or in the case of the hybrid vehicles, they recharge the batteries off of everything in the car, from brakes to the engine itself. But that battery adds weight, and the car has to be designed to meet a certain degree of safety with structure.
I've read a complaint that some fire departments had they were scared of electric cars because if they were to put the jaws of life in the wrong place to get someone out of a car, they could electrocute the guy using the rescue equipment.
You could get electrocuted. Batteries are explosive. If they break, they're corrosive. So it's, you know, that's a big hazard to safety. I think the battery car has its own problems, although it does increase mileage in some ways. We have to remember, though, when you plug something into your house, you're creating pollution a long way off at a coal-fired plant or a gas-fired plant or hopefully a nuclear-fired plant.
Yeah, I love the fact that there was some of these eco people who are going around burning Hummers in the dealer lots, and the smoke and pollution from burning the Hummer was more than like 15,000 Hummers driving their entire lifetime.
You cannot imagine the pollution when you burn all of those, the upholstery, the plastics, the hydrocarbons and those things. It's awful.
So they made a statement. I'm just not sure it's the one they thought it was.
I don't think it is either. And, you know, you need to think it through. There's a sensible answer to things. I think right now the quickest answer, just think, if you have natural gas at your house and you have a natural gas automobile, you can fill your car up at your house and it goes on your gas bill. All you got to do is know how to do it, have a safe delivery system. The big thing on alternative fuels is a delivery system.
Well, at some point, the state's going to get involved if they're not getting the taxes they used to get from gasoline.
Right. They're going to. They certainly will, because revenue is such a big thing, but particularly right now because budgets are hurting everywhere.
Okay, but I think the takeaway part for public safety in a green car is what?
Well, the takeaway is, first of all, look at the safety standards, the crash features, the weight of the car. You can get a G-Series Lexus that's a hybrid. Just make sure that what you've got is a safe car and lobby for natural gas, I think, in the immediate future.
Okay, thank you so much, Jim. From everyone here at Talking Law TV, we hope you have a Merry Christmas. We'll be back again next week with more great subjects and our super team of attorneys. Goodbye, everybody.